Bridgepoint kids, it's Miss Christina here. Happy Sunday to you and your families. I hope that you've had a really good week and you've been enjoying this beautiful spring weather and that you are enjoying your time at home right now and trying new things and just enjoying what God has given us right now and what we can be learning through this time at home. I know it's different. I know there are challenges in all of your families with different things that are going on, but I pray that you can see the blessings and see all the things we have to be thankful for right now. Well, I'm here for my patio again, and I'm ready for another fun lesson today, and I'm so thankful that you're watching and that you're joining me and that we can still connect this way. Know that I'm planning some really fun things for us once we can get back together in person. So we have been doing a unit on who's coming to eat. So our first week, you remember, was with Jesus having breakfast with some of the disciples after they kind of had a pretty lousy fishing trip. And then he showed up on the beach and we learned about how Jesus drew them and he draws us back to him even when we don't recognize him and even when we forget the things that he's done for us. And then we studied Zacchaeus and how Jesus went to dinner at Zacchaeus' house even though everybody else thought, why is he going there? And it changed Zacchaeus' heart forever. And last week we learned about Mary and Martha and how Martha felt like she had to be perfect for Jesus, that she had to have the best food and her house had to be perfect for him. And in that, he taught her, and he still teaches my heart, that we can't get distracted with things that seem really good because it'll pull us away from what's the most important, which is listening to Jesus, hearing his voice and following his direction. So today we are going to be learning about Jesus. He's the one going to eat, and he's going to a party. So I want you to think, if we were throwing a birthday party, if you were in charge and you were throwing a birthday party for your best friend, what do you think the most important thing is? Well, besides inviting people, one of the most important things at a birthday party is the cake or the cupcakes or whatever dessert that the birthday boy or birthday girl wants, right? So what if you were throwing a huge birthday party for your best friend and you had invited a lot of people and they were there and you had decorations and you had balloons and you had plates and napkins that all matched and it was super fun. But then as you were serving the cake, you realized you didn't have enough cake for everybody, not even for all the kids, that you only had enough cake to feed like 5 people. So who gets cake? How do you choose who gets cake? People are hungry and you don't have food to feed them. It would be a big deal. Well, in today's story, Jesus went to a party and something similar happened. So if you would like to read with me, I will give you time to get your Bibles open. We are in John, which is in the New Testament, and we are in chapter 2. We're going to be reading verses 1 through 11 today. On the 3rd day, a wedding took place at Cana in Galilee. Jesus' mother was there, and Jesus and his disciples had also been invited to the wedding. When the wine was gone, Jesus' mother said to him, "They have no more wine." "Dear woman, why do you involve me?" Jesus replied. "My time has not yet come." His mother said to the servants, "Do whatever he tells you." Nearby stood 6 stone water jars, the kind used by the Jews for ceremonial washing, each holding from 20 to 30 gallons. They were big. Jesus said to the servants, "Fill the jars with water." So they filled them to the brim. That means all the way to the top. Then he told them, "Now draw some out and take it to the master of the banquet." They did so, and the master of the banquet tasted the water that had been turned into wine. He did not realize where it had came from, though the servants who had drawn the water knew. Then he called the bridegroom aside and said, everyone brings out the choice wine first, and then the cheaper wine after the guests have had too much to drink. But you saved the best until now." This is the first of his miraculous signs Jesus performed at Cana in Galilee. He thus revealed his glory, and his disciples put their faith in him. Okay, so Jesus is at a party. And this wasn't just a one-day wedding like most people have now. In the Jewish tradition, they had wedding feasts that lasted the whole week. So that means you were supposed to have enough food and drink to feed people for an entire week. And it was a lot of people. It wasn't just their family. It was a lot of the people in their town, really important people and friends and family and extended family and cousins and their cousins. It was huge. It was a big deal. So in the Jewish culture, they didn't have a lot of choices of drink. You had water and you had wine, and that was pretty much it. So at a wedding feast, they would drink wine. And it was a big deal that they had run out of wine. What were they going to give people to drink for the rest of the week? This was only day 3. They had to make it to the end of the week and making sure they had enough for the people who were there to celebrate. So Jesus' mother knew that he could do something about it. So she came to him and asked, "Please help." She told him, "They are out of wine." Jesus knew his time had not yet come to reveal who he was to the people. This was the very first miraculous sign that he had done. And it was a big deal. They had taken these ceremonial water jars. These were the ones that they used to clean the Jews who were considered unclean, to make them clean for ceremonies and for religious ceremonies, for weddings, and he turned all of the water into wine. And the master of the ceremony, he would have been kind of like the wedding planner, the one who was running the show, I guess, for the bride and groom. He tasted it. It was given to him first, and he had never tasted such good wine that came out of Jesus' miracle. And it showed the disciples, it showed the servants, it showed those who knew what Jesus had done. It showed them his glory. His glory. So in this lesson, it reveals how Jesus brings abundance to our lives. When we're missing something, when we're out of something, Jesus fills it. He brings it to us. And in all of these lessons that we've been studying for the past few weeks, we've been learning that when we gather together around food and drink, that Jesus is with us. And during these stories, when Jesus was there with people having meals, something happens. Always. Something important always happens when we eat and drink and spend time with Jesus. That's the important thing. So, in this, what was missing? It wasn't a birthday party, so they weren't missing birthday cake. They were missing drink that they needed to feed all, to give to all the people who were there for the rest of the week. Remember, this is only day 3. And when Jesus changed the water into wine, let me ask you a question. Was it a miracle? Or was it a magic trick? How many of you like magic tricks? I know I do. And I always want to know like how they worked and how I can do them. Well, we're reading from John right now, and any of the miracles that Jesus did, because it was a miracle, not a magic trick, he always calls them a sign. Because John focused on the action of what Jesus was showing us, what he was revealing through this sign, through this action, and not necessarily the outcome, the noun, the what it was, changing the water to the wine. It was what he was revealing about himself, and that was his glory that he was revealing. So, I have something to show you. I have 2 pictures here. One is empty, has a lid on it. I'm going to move my Bible out of the way for a bit. So like I just asked you, when Jesus changed the water into wine, was it a trick or was it a miracle? What makes something a miracle? So I have water and it's really heavy and I have a pitcher. Okay, and I'm going to see if I can change this water into something else. What do you see? Did I change the water from one thing to another? I did. I changed it from plain water to cherry limeade. Now let me ask you this. Did Miss Christina perform a miracle? No. It was just a trick, if you would even consider it a trick. I just had colored powder, drink powder, in here like crystal light, and when I poured the water over it, it changed. Is that what Jesus did? No, it's not what he did. He helped the people. He helped his mother. He helped all of the people at the wedding, and especially the bride and the groom. It was his first miracle, which was a big deal because he hadn't demonstrated his power before until this wedding feast. So I want you to think about that this week, of how Jesus can provide things that we are missing, how he can fill us up when we're empty. And I also want you to remember that when you are sitting around a table with your family, with your friends, which will happen one day soon, that Jesus is there with you. And he can change our hearts. He can change our attitudes. He can fill us up when something's missing. He can take care of us because he loves us, and he does. And I thank you for watching today and for reading the scripture with me. We have one more lesson next week about a meal, and we're going to learn who's coming to eat next week. And I also, since we've been talking about magic tricks versus miracles, have a really cool magic trick to show you next. So I hope you stay tuned. Hope you're doing well. Know that I'm praying for you. Bye. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to a new episode of Is It a Miracle?
Magic
Or Science? I'm your host, the amazing Christina, and this is my sparkling assistant, Ellie. Thanks for joining us today. So today, I want to talk about a miracle. It was the first miracle that Jesus performed in Cana. And where did he go in Cana? He went to a
wedding.
And what happened at that wedding?
The wine ran out, which was a big deal.
It was a big deal. They were at that wedding for a whole week, and they had to feed people. And back then, there wasn't a lot of drinks. There was water and wine. So without wine, the only special thing they could give people to drink was water. And that wasn't very special for a wedding.
Yeah.
So what did he do? How did he fix it?
He told 2 men to pour 6 buckets of water and then give it to the king. Give it to
the banquet master, right?
Yeah.
The master of the ceremonies. And did he like the water? Was it water?
No, it was wine.
It was wine. So Jesus turned all that water, huge things of water, into wine. So was it a miracle, magic, or science?
A miracle, of course.
It was a miracle. It wasn't magic, and it wasn't science. Because if it was science, then we could do it too at home, and I can't do that.
And if it was magic, like magic tricks and magicians wouldn't be
Speaking
there.
of magic, do you see anything in my hand?
No, I
But
don't.
look. Woo!
Whoa!
Is it a miracle, magic, or science?
Magic!
Magic. What's in my other hand? Nothing but ta-da! For you, my lovely assistant. For another trick, here is my hat. Isn't it a lovely hat? Woohoo! Go Mexico, Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah!
And what is in my hat? Do you hear it? Ta-da!
rabbit.
Bunny out of my hat. There you go. Well, I have one more for you that you have to decide, and you at home, is it a miracle, is it magic, or is it science? Okay, so here is my bottle, and what do you see inside? What is it?
An egg.
An egg? But how did we get the egg inside the bottle? It's not coming out. Is it a miracle?
No.
No, because I am not God and I cannot perform miracles. It's either magic or science.
It's science.
What? How do you know?
Because, well, you see here
Wait. Don't tell him yet. We haven't done it yet. Okay, so we have a glass bottle. This is a Frappuccino bottle, so it's a little bit wider than like a soda bottle, and you have to use glass to perform this experiment. And I'm going to use a piece of thick paper like this. What I'm going to do, and if you do this at home, it has fire involved, so you have to have your parents, right? Cannot play with fire.
No.
No.
It's a warning.
So, I have my lighter, and what we're going to do is we're going to light the paper, and we're going to drop the paper into the jar,
bottle.
and then my assistant is going to put the egg on top. And you're going to be very careful, and you're going to put the egg right on top like this with the small side pointing down. I'm going to hold the bottle up so you can see it at home, since it's a little bit low on my table right here.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to give you our egg, assistant. I'm going to light it. If the wind doesn't blow it out. Alright, I'm going to hold up the bottle so everyone at home can see. You ready, assistant? You're going to put it on right now. Oh, where did the egg go?
Where did it go? It sucked down at the bottom.
It did. It sucked it into the bottle. So why? Why did it suck it in? What happened? Do we know? Is it a magic trick? Do I have special magic in my fingers that made the egg go down? No, it's science. So what happened, you guys, we've been talking about fire before when we did an experiment at Easter. So fire eats oxygen. It's its fuel. It needs oxygen. So when we put the burning paper in our jar, it burned, and it burned up the oxygen inside, creating a vacuum. And that vacuum sucked our egg down into it because it's trying to find more oxygen. So we're going to do it one more time, but this time we're going to do it with a different kind of jar that has a smaller end, and the egg, you're going to decide if the egg is going to fit or not. So let's do it again. Was this a miracle, magic, or science?
Science.
Science. And you can use science at home to create magic too. So I'm going to get another piece of paper. It's actually part of my sign. Whoops. And I'm going to light it, and my lovely assistant, you don't have to show them that, is going to put the egg on top, and you're going to put this side down.
Got it. It's already kind of broken. Let's see.
It's not broken. You don't have to show them that. It's not broken. Okay, we're going to light our paper. I'm going to hold the jar up, and then my lovely assistant is going to put the egg on top. So the fire creates a vacuum inside the jar by burning the oxygen that's inside. Put it on top. Is it going to do it? It's a bigger jar.
Egg.
It started to suck it a little bit. Let me try it again. I don't think the flame was doing real great in that one. Thank you for bearing with us. Patience. Remember we said last week that science requires patience.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to try an experiment over and over again make sure it's not burned out. You got the egg ready?
Nope.
Put the bunny away. Come on, fire. All right.
Now we go.
Now we're ready to go. We got our fire. Put it on top. Go. Uh-oh. There we go. It's starting to pull it down.
Watch and learn. Might take a while.
Well,
Science
with this
requires
one,
patience.
it does require patience. With this one, the end of the bottle is too small to pull the whole egg down because we have a pretty large egg. But I will pull the egg out and show you what it did do. So it's fun to try this at home with different bottles. One bottle that we used, it actually sucked the yolk out of the egg.
I know.
But it couldn't fit the white. All right. Ready to see what it did? Oh, I can't get it out. It's stuck. All right, assistant. Woo. All right, show them the egg. Can you see? Turn it to the side so they can see the line in it. There we go. So you can see where it was creating a vacuum inside.
My hands are strong.
By burning. Oh, do you want to try it one more with this jar again? See if we can get it down in there whole. All right, here's our egg. Lovely assistant, can you hold the egg, please? Thank you. So when Jesus performed the first miracle in Cana, John called it a sign because it was pointing to God's glory. It was showing the people and the disciples who he was. Not only did it help the bride and the groom. Come on, lighter. I should point it away from people.
But you're on the camera, so you're kind of safe.
Okay.
What? They are actually in a camera, like we are too. Hey.
There we go. Ready? Big gust of wind is coming. All right, ready, go.
Didn't put her face down.
Here we go. It's going.
Oh no!
Woo! There it goes. Into the jar. So now we have a jar with 2 eggs inside. Ta-da! Science. Science is cool. Jesus didn't need to use tricks or magic because he's God. He's fully God and fully man, and he did miracles. And so the one that we studied this week was his very, very first miracle. All right, well, I hope that you enjoyed another episode of Is It a Miracle?
Magic
Or
science!
Have a great week, Bridgepoint kids. Bye.
Bye.